What's going on, YouTube universe? Too Much Gear Guy here, and today I got another piece of gear that I'm going to talk about that I may or may not use. So that gear we're going to talk about is the UCO StakeLight, and that is this guy right here. This StakeLight is gigantic. I'll put that out there first. This is not your typical lightweight stake like an MSR groundhog. This is more so for your outdoor car camp, having fun, whatever you want to do. But it's definitely not your typical lightweight, ultralight tent stake. So before we get into some of the action here, let's do a little bit of the boring details that I know everyone's interested in, and I'll try to make this as quick as possible. So this comes in a pack of 4. This is typical, I think, for most tents. Most tents probably come with maybe 2 or 4 more extra depending on the size of the tent. But if you think about it, you got your 4 corners of a tent usually, and you got your 4 stakes. Each stake comes with a 17 lumen light, which is this guy right here. Let's see if you can see that. And this is actually removable. You can see slide up and down. If you needed to, you could actually take it off. But this is the LED itself here. So this LED is powered by one AAA battery. Let me see if I can pop that off real quick. There you go. So one AAA battery. Just pops out of the, I guess this is silicone, I'm not sure, but the light itself just pops right out. Battery installs and pops right back in. So the battery might be a negative for some people. Typically, especially this day and age, a lot of lights are rechargeable. You don't have to carry around extra batteries. Extra batteries equal additional weight. So that's something that might be a negative for some folks, especially your ultralight hikers. Typically, you'll want something a lot lighter than this. The stake itself is pretty light, but just the fact that you have to carry extra batteries, because unfortunately this on area light only lasts for 10 hours. I haven't tested that. I did use it for a couple hours, but definitely not 10. Then it also has a strobe function, which will last for 24 hours. So the light itself is turned on by pressing the LED switch here, which is this little power button, and we'll do that. So that's your area light. And then you have your strobe. And then off. The LED itself is rated to an IPX6, which is water resistant, not necessarily waterproof. I can tell just by when you remove the LED itself, you could tell there's no actual real seal in there that would make it 100% waterproof, so keep that in mind. Another feature on this stake, or maybe I would say the light itself, is it glows in the dark. So if you recharge it by the sun, or it recharges itself basically by the light, you'll get a glow in the dark function, which I'll show in the video. And the last detail I'll share is, again, it's removable. So if you don't want to use the stake itself, you could take this off. You could probably use it as a quick replacement for a flashlight if you're looking inside maybe your backpack, or you have a way to hang this in your tent. Probably another good option for you. But again, this slides off, and then again, that makes it portable, I guess you could say. So what are you going to use this for? Well, there's a few options, and a couple after looking online, or some suggestions, but one would be the area light, of course. So you stake this in, and then you'll have the area light shine down, and this will more than likely give you an idea of, in my opinion, where the line is. So if you've ever been camping before and you set up those guide-on lines, tent strings, whatever you want to call them, they're very easy to trip on, especially if they don't have that reflective material already made into it. But this will help you identify those lines. And I'll be honest, it lights up a pretty good area next to the stake. So if anything, it's probably good for some ambiance, right? But you'll see that again as well in the video and a few pictures I took, that the area light is fairly good. The second option would be the strobe. So if you've ever been hiking and you want to identify a trail, these will be good to put in the ground, kind of light up the trail for you, especially if you put it on that strobe mode 24 hours. You got a bunch of people camping with you, you can stake these in the ground, light up the path that you're trying to identify. If you've ever been hiking and in the middle of the night you got to go do number 1, number 2, whatever it is, you get up, it's dark as anything out, and you turn around, there's nothing, and you try to figure out what path you just took, you're tired, whatever, I can see these coming in handy. Even just one. Stake it in the ground, plug the light on, and then hard to get lost with that, right? So just another option for you with this light. And with that, I would say that's pretty much all the uses for this stake. Again, it's pretty big. It's not your typical lightweight small stake, even though it is lightweight itself. But whether or not I would carry these on like a 3 or 4 day hike, maybe not. If anything, maybe one, just because of the light function, path identification, gear identification. I think this would be a good option. But at the end of the video, I'll give you my final thoughts. But with that, let's get into it. Alright, so that's the light itself. You can see it just slides right on the tent stake, and inside the actual light is where the battery goes. This could be something, but yep, that's where the battery goes, and that could be a positive or negative for some, just because most lights these days are rechargeable. So that is something to keep in mind. Here you'll see just pressing the light itself, that's it activates it, and then you press it again, that activates the strobe mode, and then when you turn it off, you'll see here in a second that it actually glows in the dark, which I think is a nice feature to have. Here's a quick walk around, give you an idea of what the stakes themselves look like with the area light. They do provide a pretty good amount of light, and definitely make it easier to find in the dark. I would suggest having these if you got pets, kids, kind of help make the lines a little bit more easier to see in the dark as well. But don't mind my double stakes. They will work as a normal stake. I just set the tent up earlier, so I already had those stakes in the ground. Would I recommend the product? I sure would. I wouldn't recommend it probably for any kind of ultralight hiking or long-term hiking, just because of the weight and the batteries. But any questions, let me know. and I'll try to get an answer for you. As always, thanks for watching.